Hey Al, how you doing?
Hey, how's it going, Albert? How's it going?
I'm doing great, man. Hey, listen, I want to first of all thank you for joining the segment. It's all about the agents. What we're doing a little bit this month coming up for July, I'm kind of dedicating the month of July to technology and life science, which are some of the really good appetite or good classes of business that we're writing currently in CNA. And Al is our small business underwriter. And Al, what are some of the territories that you cover?
So as of now, I cover all of California. I cover Phoenix or Arizona, and then I also cover New
Okay.
Mexico and a portion of Nevada.
Okay, cool. So you kind of got that West Coast flavor.
Yeah, everything West
Yeah,
Coast. Everything West
I like
Coast. Yeah.
I like it. I like it. Well, I'll tell you, tell the audience, a lot of my agents might talk to you on a daily basis, but a lot of them maybe not have not met you in person. But tell me a little bit about, how you got started in CNA and what's been your path and what do you like about, now becoming a underwriter for technology.
Okay, yeah, definitely, man. So I started with CNA back in 2015, right out of college, actually. I got my job and started with small business. I've been in small business the duration of my insurance career. At first, I was located in Orlando, then moved out to Kansas to be on the Western Zone, well, to work the Western Zone and be a portfolio underwriter. So I was more of a generalist underwriter for a while
Sure.
there, for
Hmm.
about 3 years, and then I recently moved over to technology probably about 2 years ago, and I've
Excellent.
been loving it ever since, man. I love everything about technology. I love the nicks and the niches
Yeah.
and the in-depth research you have to do for it. So yeah, I'm enjoying technology. I love technology. I love to talk about it.
Well, that's the one thing that I started at CNA around 2-3 years ago as well. So when we had a chance to meet, I could definitely see how driven you are and how passionate you are about technology, and I appreciate that because I think that my clients and agents, our agents, they really appreciate how passionate you are, and it really shows. When you're trying to win that account and doing all the research that we can and seeing what we can do to offer the coverages. I think that's been phenomenal. So you spend some time, obviously doing portfolio and just kind of learning, what it is to underwrite and give you a broader view. And then you just kind of transition into technology just because you saw an opportunity within that
Yeah,
division,
yeah.
right? Excellent.
Yep, definitely. That portfolio pretty much laid the foundation for me from an a underwriting and insurance standpoint because I
Yeah.
pretty much had no prior experience, and then technology kind of hit the road running, kind
Yeah.
of hit the
Well,
ground
and I
running with
think
technology. So
I think you kind of also feel like you're a part of something new, right? Like, because all these technology applications and things of that nature, manufacturing and everything that comes your way is always very innovative. So you kind of have to keep with the times, and I'm sure, I think we're seeing, right, a lot of different technologies coming up due to the pandemic, right? We're seeing some new technologies pick up and kind of, I think from a submission standpoint, we've probably seen a little bit of an uptick, right, in terms of some technologies that are out there.
yeah. So from an innovation standpoint, and 100%, the design development from a manufacturing standpoint or from a computer programming standpoint, it's been crazy as so much research has to be done, and especially
Sure.
like new generation technology, and it's interesting. It's interesting. It never gets mundane.
Good.
It's
Yeah.
never too static. It's always
Yeah.
pretty dynamic, always moving around. So yeah, I love it. I love it.
Thank you. Well, let's do this. Let's talk a little bit about technology since this is your specialty, and a lot of my agents that are out there are looking to expand into new classes of business. And I always talk to them about technology, and a lot of classes of business that they may not think that are tech accounts are actually tech accounts. So let's talk a little bit. Share with me some of the classes of business that you would consider to be tech.
Okay, so to go over the most, I guess you can say the front runners, the things that we
Hmm.
see the most. We see a ton of computer programmers, a ton of software developers, manufacturers from an electronic standpoint. We see a ton of those as well. Some of the areas that some underwriters or some insurance carriers don't particularly see as technology that we do, we think of communication service providers as technology. We
Okay.
think of internet service providers as technology. So that realm in general, network service providing and things like that, those are going to be something that we think of as technology, and we can throw the, from a coverage standpoint, we can pretty much go far.
Excellent. Now, and you would say from the top classes of business, what are some of the things that you think are very successful for our agents to kind of take a look out there when they think of CNA and they think of technology? What would you say would be like, okay, this is a key account for CNA?
So anything white collar, and that's going to be across the board, like not just
Sure.
at CNA, unfortunately, that's going to be all of my peers within the technology field. Anything white collar is going to be white collar technology. It pretty much, the revenue is there, the exposure
Sure.
pretty much isn't, right? So the
Got it.
revenue is there, the premium generated for the revenue is there, but the exposure from, like, especially from a bot perspective, right? If you
Sure.
want to talk about the general liability and the property, the exposure from general liability and the property risk of somebody
It's
sitting
minimal.
behind a computer is a little bit less, drastic, or a little bit less critical than if you have a manufacturer of practically anything, right?
Okay.
It's just the way it is. It's the way it is. So I would say
That
anything
makes
white
sense.
collar, anything
Yeah.
white collar technology related is going to be pretty much our bread and butter. That's going to be where
Okay.
we are get really, really, really aggressive on our pricing, on
Mhm.
coverage enhancements, on practically doing anything we can to write the business, because
Right.
those are the things that we tend to see from a trend standpoint perform better for us.
Okay. And what, it's interesting because, I've also noticed that within what you're talking about, white collar businesses, we look at digital marketing firms, we look at, even blogging, and some of those risks happen to fall under technology too. So a lot of times, our agents may not think that that particular client is a technology account, but it happens to be so. So I think that's really important. And you talked a little bit about the BOP, right? Where we cover the general liability and the property and so on, and we have a lot of enhancements. But also, I think one of the highlights too is that we can include, the technology errors and omissions onto our platform. So, what are some of the other enhancements, including technology? What do you find within our program that tends to be a benefit for the client?
So, like you mentioned, technology errors and omissions, that's going to be our base product, right? That's going to be our
Hmm.
overall solution. And then we
Sure.
have coverage enhancements that can be added on to that solution. So our information risk is going to be data breach. That's going to be some people cyber, network security. Like it's
Sure.
named a plethora of different things, different names within the marketplace, but information risk is basically cyber. So we can add cyber to the policy,
Okay.
to the technology errors and omissions form. And so just to go a little bit deeper in regards to cyber, we also
Sure.
have not only the third party cyber liability,
Hmm.
which is like the privacy injury liability as well as the network security liability, but also we offer first party coverages. We offer a
Okay.
privacy regulation proceeding. We offer network extortion. We offer privacy event expense. So those can come as a full package. And then also we have the capacity to put media liability on our policy, on our errors and omissions policy. So
Excellent.
so those are the three main subcomponents. We have the E&O, we have the information risk, which can then in turn, pretty much get expanded a little bit more with the first party
Right.
coverages. And then we also have the media liability, which
Okay.
is basically in itself a bolstered up advertising injury and personal injury form.
Okay. Okay. So it just kind of enhances that exposure, right? And
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
specifically
yes,
into the
correct.
technology realm. Okay.
Mm-hmm. Correct.
And I think that's a really good point, because these are some of the, when an agent, for example, might be coming to us and say, they're not really comfortable necessarily selling a technology policy because maybe they hadn't encountered it in the past. But I think that's where you come in and you can kind of help educate the client, right? In terms of, okay, this is what we're looking at, this is what this is covering. And the fact that our program has these enhancements, it makes it a whole lot easier, right, for the agent to sell to the client.
Yeah, 100%. And I have a ton of marketing material. I know you have on
Hmm.
hand a ton of
Hmm.
marketing advertising material that pretty much do the job of equipping the agent with the knowledge and the foundation to speak intelligently on the technology
Right.
subject and
Right.
within the affinity. So we have resources out there. We have marketing material out there from to help push the agent in the right direction in regards to really selling technology risk. So whether that's me, that's you, that's any
Mhm.
other type of marketing material, any other resource within CNA, we can definitely find a solution.
I appreciate that. And when we talk a little bit about size, what's really interesting is that even though we both work in small business, I always like to say that we're really in the middle type business, right?
Yeah,
Small to
yeah.
middle market, because you can go up to my understanding is about 20 million in revenue, right?
30,
When it comes to
30.
small, 30 million in,
Yeah,
well,
30.
even better, even
Yeah,
better. So
yeah.
30 million in revenue, which in my opinion, that is no small business. you
Yeah,
know
yeah.
so I think that when our agents come to us and they look at the amount of revenue that a client can have, and to actually be able to write it not only through our CNA Central platform, but they can write it in a BOP, which includes all the enhancements with technology, information risk, media liability. I mean, that to me is a great selling point. And and there's been occasions too that you've had clients write the technology separately, right, on a monoline basis too.
Yeah, 100%. Whether that's with CNA or that's not with CNA, we definitely we have the capacity to write a monoline E&O form, and we also have the capacity to write a monoline E&O form that includes the information risk and that includes the media,
Got it.
and then also have the capacity to write solely a BOP, and the E&O
Okay.
is placed elsewhere. So
Okay.
so we have some flexibility there. We definitely have autonomy in regards to what we can do from an underwriting capacity standpoint. So
Hmm.
so
Hmm.
I say when things like that come up, just have the conversation with you, have the conversation with me as the underwriter, and and,
Sure.
and let's figure out a solution.
Figures. And I think that's a great point that you make, is you're willing to go out to bat. I know that I send you, and some of our agents send you some challenging accounts, right, at times, but I think that you're able to just have the conversation with the agent, really dive into the coverages, dive into the type of business that it is. And a lot of times you'll go to bat, to say, hey, this is something that we can do. And obviously we can't write everything, right, that comes our way. There's challenges within some of these technologies, but one of the things in some areas that I've seen is with app development. What is your position when we're looking at some of these apps that are coming out, whether it's new apps or so? What do you tend to see, what works and what doesn't within our platform?
So from a eligibility standpoint, I'm glad you brought this up because
Mhm.
I tend to evangelize this and advertise as much as possible. So there's no black and white. We can do this and we can't do this from an
Right.
industry standpoint, right?
Right.
So software development. Now, a lot of times, a lot of different types of software can be utilized within a plethora of different type of industries and affinity groups, right?
Hmm.
So what I like to do is give me the opportunity to look at a website, a brochure, maybe a portfolio if
Okay.
they don't have
Okay.
the prior, and then let me determine if the type of software that was developed is something that we can take a shot at, because
Sure.
some people see aerospace, they see app
Right.
development,
Yeah, exactly.
so they
Yeah.
see military
Hmm.
or they see energy
Hmm.
consumption, and they like, no, can't do it, 100% can't do it. So I'm personally not the underwriter at things like that. I always like to dig into the weeds a little bit, and then
Yeah.
I know you do a great job of challenging me in regards to
Hmm.
my underwriting discretion, and like you said, I'm all for going to bat for a specific company if me and you are on the consensus that it may be something that we can give a shot at. So I
Sure.
say any type of app developer, software developer, computer
Mhm.
programmer, system
Right.
integrator, anything,
Hmm.
right? Anything from a white collar digital, right, white collar computer related service from
Hmm.
IT perspective. Just send it over. Let me take a look at it. Let me view it. Send me over a website, LinkedIn, brochure, like I said, a portfolio if they
Okay.
don't have the prior. and then let me make the discretion that way, as opposed to shying away from a specific industry or
Sure.
shying away from a specific thing, because that's when as that that's when opportunities start to get lost, opportunities start to get
Yeah.
missed.
Yeah. And I think that is a big point too, because even though, a lot of times, obviously all of our agents are using our CNA Central platform to enter the information. And then initially, they'll enter the information, but I think a lot of times having a call with you, right, is very important, because then you can kind of analyze the risk together, right, with the
Mhm.
agent, and see, okay, this is something that we could build upon. But I think you bring up a good point, and the fact is that you're willing to have the conversation, and if the agent is able to provide you, right, the information that you need, it makes it easier then for you to underwrite and find a solution for them. So I would definitely tell my agents that, feel free to challenge, right, Al, and have the
Yeah.
conversation with Al regarding the risk, because a lot of times they might be going to different parts of the market and they're getting declinations, but if they, maybe have a conversation and explain, what is it that we're looking for, it gives us a better opportunity to win the account. Um, Listen, Al, I really do. We've been working together for the I would say the last few years, and had an opportunity to meet you in person when you came out to San Diego. Love to have you back. Hopefully, when this pandemic subsides, and we're able to get together and hit the road again. I really invite you to come back out here. I know my agents and your agents, they really enjoy working with you throughout the state and the other states that you work with. But one of the things, I do want to commend you for doing such a great job with building the rapport within the last 2 years. I think a lot of the agents, the feedback that I hear out there is really about, how responsive you are and how helpful you are. And I think it's really important for all of our CNA and all of the FSSs that you work with, to know that you're always going to be there, for the clients and for the FSSs. I know that I bug you quite a bit on calls and try to get your insight on things, but you've always been very responsive, and I think that's a great attitude to have, especially when you're in this industry.
Yeah, yeah. I appreciate that, man. I appreciate that.
And Al, one thing I do have to say, you're a young gun in our world, and I really think that, what would you what did you ever see yourself in the insurance industry?
No, never, never. I knew absolutely nothing about insurance. So my background is actually in actuarial science and economics.
Okay.
So
Okay.
I
Okay.
randomly went to a career fair my senior year and was talking
Uh-huh.
to a ton of different companies, and I
Sure.
ran into CNA, and they pretty much
Interesting.
wooed me. I love the attitude. I love the dynamic. I love the personality. I love the
Yeah.
interpersonal reactions that I was getting with the individuals that I was having my interviews with. So
Yeah.
they pretty much just it sunk in with me. And then, I dug in a little bit deeper in regards to exactly what underwriting is and what
Right.
insurance consists of. And next thing you
Sure.
know, 5 years later, I'd be surprised if I leave. I'd be
Good,
surprised if I
good.
leave
You know,
insurance,
it's
100%.
it's it's you know it's interesting, because you're a millennial, right? I would
Yeah.
consider you being a millennial, and a lot of millennials don't necessarily look at insurance as a career option. And here you are, you're at a career fair, and obviously you engage with the right person. I know if it was me interviewing you, I would have brought you to the fold, as well. But I think that you were able to see kind of an opportunity in an industry that you might have not considered, and here you are, you know, you're not even 30, and you're already considering staying in the industry. And I think a lot of millennials out there, when they look at, we're obviously going to have a lot of people graduating from college and looking at opportunities, and we're all very fortunate, that I bless, that we're blessed that we were able to work during these conditions, right? During this
Hmm.
pandemic,
Yeah.
and we're all in an industry that's considered to be an essential business as well. So I think that, you're a testament that, hey, millennials can fall in love with insurance and can build a successful career, and I see
Yeah.
you. obviously I see you, growing throughout the industry. And I think that, your career path too is actuarial science. It's interesting because, data drives everything now. And I think within our industry too, we see that data is really driving a lot of the decisions in where carriers are going. So I think that you made the right choice. We're blessed to have you in our territory. We hope that we can maintain you there, and maybe we'll try to push you to get you out to San Diego, work from San Diego from time to time. But first of all, again, thank you, Al, for joining the segment. This is really about my agents and your agents getting to know you, a little bit about your story, and also, what do you enjoy doing? And being our number one, part of the A team is what I call you. You're part of the A team, and we're going to be continuing to do our best to help our clients. So, any message you want to leave for the agents out there?
So everybody, thank you for listening. Thank you for chiming in. I really appreciate it. Just a little bit more feedback in regards to technology businesses. Don't shy away from them. If it's something that it's a niche market for you all, definitely give me a call. We can do what we can from a solution standpoint, and from equipping you all with enough knowledge and the foundation to go after and seek after that business effectively. CNA loves technology businesses in general. We love it. We love everything about it. We like the market. It's very profitable for us. We are very aggressive on it. We're very good at writing it. So come to us. Don't shy away from it. And let's write business.
Awesome. I love that. That's the best way to end it. Let's write business. So again, thanks, Al, for joining the segment. And I look forward to, continuing to rock this year. We got the second half of the year. We're going to finish strong. We're going to get out there and reach out to these agents. So for the month of July, for all those agents out there, we're dedicating this month to our largest segments between technology and life science. So keep an eye out there for some incentives, keep an eye out there for some promotions, and make sure that you reach out to Al with any questions. If I'll also include his contact information on the feed as well. So if you need to call him directly, you can. So again, thank you, Al, for joining us.
Yes, sir. Take care.